Now, there's a lot to be said about the legislators, and you have a lot of different things that represents law. But with that said, it supersedes righteousness. Basically, the cliche that says just because something is moral doesn't mean it's legal. Just because something is legal doesn't mean it's moral. But in essence, the legal has been trying to push out the moral, the morale. There's no moral to the story. There's only, if anything, a legislation to the legislation to the legislation. One can say that. Or to the administration, to what had to be administered. One can say that. There's no story for anything pertaining to law. No one cares about your story. That's kind of what we're entering into right now with a lot of what's going on in the world. So I think about the fact that even with just the commoners, as I call people, civilians, bystanders, however way you want to put it, but I like to say commoners, because a lot of these people have their type of way of thinking. A lot of people have that in common. There's a commonality there. There's a lot to say about the sheeples. The sheeples are the commoners. So they don't even see righteousness the same way or even view it as that. That's why they shun the idea of what a good man is, if you will, because the law doesn't care about how good of a man you are. If someone doesn't think you're good, they're going to use the law against you. They're not going to care about your righteousness at the time. That's because a lot of what law is, it has moved away from whatever righteousness is all about to support whatever motives or agendas are out there. That's why you have a lot of controversies behind pro-life, pro-choice, a lot of things that have taken place with a lot of high-profile cases where you have people that were shot down by police officers, going back to law enforcement, right? But you have that. You have people that were like mass murderers that get away with crimes that would put someone else in the hole for a long time based on a different type of crime. You have a lot of people getting away with that, but see, the judges, they would say, well, it was perfectly legal, whether they claim the person did self-defense. But other people like, no, you threw morality out the window in this situation. See, you can't do things even as simple as gather water at your home. They I guess there's laws out there that says that you gathering water or rainwater is illegal. Now, morally, you're like, hey, got to take care of my plants, got to make sure my people are hydrated. We can filter the water to make sure that it's safe to drink. But laws say, no, you can't do that. So there's a lot to say that whatever your righteousness is, it's met up with the law. So that's why I believe in this day and age, law just tends to supersede a lot of righteousness, and it's only going to supersede it even more. Even if you have good intentions, that doesn't mean what you're doing is legal. See how that goes? Like, even if you have a firearm and you're protecting yourself, you got to be careful as to how you do it. Ironically, someone else could use that firearm in a similar manner and they still get away with self-defense. So, yeah, the righteousness of knowing that you were dealt with unequally, you were mistreated, you had no due justice, you didn't have proper due process of things. But just based on the way certain laws are, you got people who have been wrongfully convicted even if they knew they were innocent. And so what happens? They get, they get paroled, but they don't get compensated for the time they basically wasted in incarceration. So the morality kicks in there because you're like, well, this guy or this gal needs to be spared. Look at the time they spent behind bars that they didn't even have to spend, and you guys don't even look out for these people when they get released. You think just them having freedom is enough? They did not only lose their freedom, they pretty much lost a part of their life, and they have a lot of catching up to do. You may have dealt with someone that got locked up for 20 years. Guess what? That's 20 years of a lot of things they missed out in this world, whether it's technology, the news, learning how to drive certain cars, learning how to interact with people a certain way, even just the climate, or even their childhood, their hometown. Things changed about that. Some people want to check out their hometown when they get out of jail. So, but even that, no. They're not going to get no compensation because, once again, the law kind of tries to stand over morality and righteousness, or what should be done in this situation. How can we make this right? You got issues of child support, things like that. So, not trying to get too much into the worldly side of what takes place, but more or less, it seems that the legal side of everything, the law is from a worldly background, and morality has more of a spiritual background.